What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Season 2 of St. Pius X Football with Greg Cranfill. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. We've left him alone all summer so he can get recharged. He didn't really have to deal with me too much during the summer. But now, Coach, for the next 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks, we get to meet every single week for the award-winning, of course, Coach's Show with Greg Cranfill.
I know. It's been a lonely summer, you know. I mean, I miss hanging out with you, brother, so.
Well, we're back. Your football team's back. You know, this offseason was a little more normal-ish. That's the word I've been using, normal-ish. There's still stuff going on with COVID and things like that, but it felt more normal-ish.
Try to patent that word, you know. So
I'll try my best.
Yeah.
How do you feel coming into this August compared to last August with this team and your programming, your culture kind of more instilled?
Yeah, I think, you know, the thing that you and I talked about at the end of last year was how excited I was about the summer because it wasn't going to be a lot of new teaching, you know, because the majority of the guys that we had back had been in our program for a year, and all of the things that we do, they knew. The expectation, the level of commitment that it took to be where we wanted to be. So these guys were all committed to doing all those things. You know, we did some great things this summer in 7-on-7. Our strength and conditioning program was great. Some of these guys, you know, in their multi-sports had tremendous summers participating in those and representing St. Pius in the way that we want, you know, and that's championship mode wherever we go.
Yeah, I know you had a few guys make the SaberCats 18U rugby team. I think one of those was Michael Fight.
Yeah.
Had a couple other guys make that team, and you know, had some guys playing some baseball, and I mean, it's kind of all over the place. But now it's back into football mode. You've had them for a few weeks. What was it like to get them back and get into the groove of, you know, the August fall camp and stuff like that?
Right. You know, it all comes down to processing ultimate goals and where we're after or what we're after throughout the course of the season. And you're right. I mean, you got Michael Fight, Alex Gutierrez, Burt Battenfield, you know, and Max Bright all playing rugby. You got Jackson Mobley. You got Carson Henson all playing baseball. Ethan McMahon. You've got Cade Nygren, who signed to play collegiate lacrosse. So these guys are all around the nation doing all their things. But it's great when I get the opportunity to come back and focus on this upcoming season with them. And they've done a tremendous job. You know, we often question kids' commitments when it comes to being certain places where we want them to. And I constantly are telling our coaches, guys, these guys are committed. They're just committed to like 50 different things. And I said, as long as they put their faith first, their family second, and then football or any sport third, then we are doing our job as coaches, getting them moving in the right direction. And that's what we've got. We've got a locker room full of guys that understand priorities and know how to handle the situation. They know how to handle this upcoming season and know that nothing is giving to them and to expect the unexpected.
One of the guys you mentioned is Carson Henson. Of course, he was named our VYPE preseason private school defensive player of the year heading into this year. Put up some very nice numbers last year, was all-state. And Coach, he looks like a guy that's going to go be a star on defense when he's out there. It looks like he just brings the hammer every time.
Absolutely. And, you know, Carson's a great example. He picked up 2 offers this summer to go play collegiate football. And I think, you know, he's got such a huge upside that those offers are going to continue. You know, we played Carson as an outside linebacker, and one of the conversations that we had with our new defensive coordinator, Rusty Cawthorn, who was the defensive coordinator at LaGrange for so many years, is if we put Carson as an outside backer, I have just a suspicious feeling that 90% of the plays are going to go the other way. And we felt like our defense was one of the bright spots of this year going in, and where we could best utilize Carson, and by putting him inside at Mike, now he's got a two-way go, and we're excited about what he does, not only from his play, but just being a 3-year starter and the voice of that defense out there, kind of helping putting guys where they need to be. And plus, he knows how to tackle, and that's a big thing, you know. We often tell our defensive guys, it takes more than just knowing where to be. and it takes more than just being in the right spot. You've got to learn how to finish plays. And I think Carson's proven that he definitely knows how to finish plays.
You mentioned collegiate offers. One of your guys committed this offseason is Logan Tanner, your tight end. He commits to San Diego State University. Had a lot of trips over the summer, had the offers. He's a big tight end, big body tight end. What do you like about him, and how excited are you to see him go on to the next level at San Diego State?
Yeah, I think what we do with Logan is exactly the reason why everybody is so excited about him. It's just his versatility. He's a tenacious blocker inside, and people love that. But he has the ability to play outside, and when he gets his hands on the ball, there's a good chance that kid can score from anywhere on the field. He runs great routes. He's very, very strong, and he understands the game of football. And you put all those things together in one package, and you get a Division I caliber athlete, and that's exactly what he is.
Talking right now with Greg Cranfill, head coach of St. Pius X Panthers, as we continue on the Greg Cranfill Show, back for a second glorious season. Coach, last week when I put out, we're coming back with the show, we put out a question. I said, hey, anybody want to ask any questions for the coach? And, of course, we got one question. It came from James Hintz, one of our longtime listeners, first-time callers. He said, Coach, you've been coaching since the 1990s. What has changed about high school football since you got into coaching as you now entered the year 2021?
Right. I think two things come to mind when we talk about changes in my career. One's got to be technology. We went from trading VHS tapes, sitting at convenience stores at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning to literally exchange VHS tapes, to now just clicking buttons, and the instant access that we have to data when it comes to breaking down videos. It has kind of changed the game and allowed coaches, in my opinion, young coaches, to catch up because of the learning capabilities that we have now through technology. And the second one's got to be the weight room. The things that the modern day coaches are doing in the weight rooms through strength and conditioning programs have tremendously allowed us to do things that, on Friday nights that only a few kids were capable. We used to talk about he was born strong. Now we talk about how we can build young men into strong collegiate top athletes. And that's what's changed. It's the fact that you go and look at rosters now compared to 1991, you'll see that the kids are 10 or 15 pounds heavier, and that's probably all due to muscle mass based on these weight programs that people have. So it's made it fun, both the technology side and the weight room, because if you overlook either one of those, you can get beat on any given Friday, and so you got to stay ahead of the game, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah, and for all our younger watchers, a VHS tape was this plastic thing. It was about this big, like this. It had tape. It actually had tape in it.
Yeah.
And if you actually went and rented a movie from a place called like Blockbuster, which is no longer around, you actually had to rewind that tape before you took it
Be
back.
kind,
and
rewind, right, man? So.
Exactly. And you had to have a VCR. You can't find a VCR anymore.
No.
Like it's impossible.
No. All you got to do is go to Dad's house. I'm sure Dad's got one hidden away because he's sure that it's coming back one day, So
they're sure it's going to come back. It's gonna make a comeback. Not at any point. At some point,
yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, I'll tell you what's funny. Not funny, but if you watch any of the NBA Finals, in football they always show that picture of Tom Brady when he was drafted compared to what he looks like now. But Giannis, I don't know if you saw Giannis his rookie year compared to this year. It's a side-by-side picture. And I read an article talking about his commitment to understanding how the game at the NBA level was such a stronger and such a more physical and faster game. And he knew that that's the way that he was going to have to make a huge impact. And that's what he did. So it's not just football. It's any sport. You'll find that kids that find ways into that weight room and that are committed will truly have, a little bit better edge. It doesn't guarantee success, but it sure puts you in the ballpark where you can compete. So I thought that was
exactly. Yeah, he went from a beanpole coming into the
Yeah.
NBA, and now he's a force.
He's a poster child, man, for the NBA, you know. So
Like exactly, and now NBA champion
that's it.
this this year. So we've talked about a lot of things, and of course this is week one of
Right.
or week zero, whatever people want to call it.
Yeah,
Um, they change it every year.
that's
You take
correct.
on Lutheran High North this week. What do you want to see out of your football team? I mean, outside of the normal, we want to win the game and
Sure.
do this right. What are the three things you want to see this football team do well this week?
Well, I think, anything we talk about here is about process. And we had our inter-squad scrimmage, and the goal for that next week going into that Texas City scrimmage was, can you show me on video how you are improving, both through a schematic understanding and both through just you individually. Can you show strides of improvement? We went through that same thing with Lamar. And now going into this week, it's not as much about Lutheran North as it is about what we're seeing with ourselves. We have got to see more consistency in our passing game. I feel like our offensive line is one of our strong suits. And right now, going into week one, I have a good feeling about our ability to run the football. But we've got to be able to manage third downs. And I think that comes from the quarterback position. And we've got two guys right now that we've got a lot of confidence in. But when it comes down to it, we've got to be able to make plays. We've got too many drops from the receivers and too many just X's when it comes to a check or an X, but too many X's when it comes to actual execution on the offensive side. And that's what we got to look at. We got to look at ourselves, see if we're improving. And then special teams, we really haven't had a true test, and week 0/1, whatever you call it, is always a big indicator of our preparation when it comes to special teams. We feel like we've got two pretty good weapons in Tanner Hanson and Cade Nygren when it comes to our kicking. So now it's just a matter of open field tackling. Can we get down there and do the things that we need to? And can we block people in space? I think the special teams, when you go back and look at week 0/1, whatever it is, you're going to see a lot of these games are won or lost based on teams' preparations for special teams, just because the game is such a field position-based game, and great special teams can flip that field or can put you in a hole real quick. So that's kind of been our focus the last couple of weeks.
So we will see two different quarterbacks run out there this week. They'll kind of figure it out, and it'll work itself out at some point this season.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, I'm okay with it because, like I said, they're real talented kids, and both of them bring so much to the table. It's hard to say, I'm taking that out of our game plan, from one or the other. But it's two kids that have had tremendous summers. They work their butts off, and you've been around me long enough. We're going to reward hard work in our program, whether it comes to quarterback or whether it comes to left tackle or whether it comes to the guy who's getting to carry the flags out on Friday nights. We're going to find ways to reward. I'll give you a great example. Our home jerseys this year, kids that acquired 18 points throughout the summer with workouts and 7-on-7 and stuff like that. If you acquired 18 points, you're getting the name on the back of your jersey. I'm not punishing people that didn't. I'm rewarding the people that did. And that's what life is about. This as well as I do. We are rewarded for the things that we do well, and that's what I want these kids to understand. Things will not be given. You will earn everything that you've got. And whether it's in real life or it starts in the St. Pius football program, that's the lesson that we want to teach these kids. And I think they understand that. So that's a good part.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. It's kind of like I think Ohio State does, like earning the stripe or getting
Correct.
the black stripe taken off the helmet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a neat deal. Another neat deal. We're filming this, of course, on Mondays. It airs on Wednesdays.
Right.
Yesterday, you had the Top Golf fundraiser for St. Pius football. You broke the clubs out for that, Coach. How'd you do?
No.
How'd you do at Top Golf?
No. That's strictly me making sure that the event is ran off correctly. My older sister, Amy, is an event planner in Austin, and she is so good at what she does, and she's always calling to help me. And I'm like, Amy, listen, I've got some amazing team moms, Trisha Stringfellow and Beth Rogers and Val Landry and Christy Bright, just to name a few, but they're all amazing team moms. And our Booster Club president, Margot Wall, amazing people that have everything in order, and they're not afraid to tell me, Greg, fix this, and that's okay. That's what I need. But I talked to my sister as soon as it was over. I go, Amy, my favorite part of a fundraiser is the second that it's over, knowing that we've had a successful event and then we move on. So she thought that was funny. So.
So successful event yesterday at Topgolf.
Yes, sir.
Later this week we have Decals with Dads, Muffins with Moms. Those were 2 events that you brought last year. Does doing that stuff, does that kind of signal that, okay, it's football season's here? Not only that it is week 1, you have a game on Friday, but getting to do these special moments with Decals with Dads and Muffins with Moms.
Yeah, it actually, here's why we do it. It's all about priorities. And I want these young men to understand the importance of the people that are surrounding them in their life and how important they are to them, And it doesn't always have to be a dad, because, we talk about family all the time. And family doesn't mean mom, dad, brothers, and sisters. Family is an acronym for us. It says, forget about me, I love you. So it's all about the network of people that are in your circle that are there to help you. I've got 2 friends, Tori and Amy Baldwin, who live in Canton, Texas. Tori's the best man at my wedding and everything. They just had a son, Jet, that graduated and moved off to Texas Tech. And I think the reality of spending 18 years with these kids and then that quick, he's moved out to go on in his life. I think the things that we can give them through Muffins with Moms and Decals with Dads allows them to grow and allows them to go off and know that no matter where you are, whether it's in Lubbock, Texas, that the love from their families carries with them wherever they go. And I think that's the one thing that helps us get through those types of deals, is knowing that your son or that your daughter, without a doubt, knows that they're loved and they can call on us at any point. That's why we do these types of things. Yeah, it's great for the pictures and all that stuff. But life is about moments, and that's what we try to do. Just create moments for these kids that hopefully they'll remember the rest of their lives.
Finally, before we wrap up, of course, coming up Friday night, it'll be St. Pius X taking on Lutheran High North to open up their 2021 season. So don't forget to head out there with your orange and black and cheer on the Panthers as they come out of the Panther for the first time. The last thing we'll talk about, Coach, is I was sitting in church yesterday, it was Sunday, and the title of the sermon series that my church is going through right now is Pursuing Perfection, which is talking about an individual basis of pursuing perfection as an individual. But of course, I'm sitting there and I think about that, and then I think, okay, how does that apply to sports and football?
Josh,
because in football, we're always...
Are you in church thinking about football?
I am in church thinking about football sometimes.
That's
I'm
my
not
man.
gonna lie.
That's
I'm not
my
gonna
man.
lie. I thought about the individual part first. Then I thought, okay, how does this apply to sports?
Yeah. Hey, if you knew how many church bulletins my wife has ripped out of my hands during Sunday service because it's got plays or, the weekly agenda on it. So I'm proud of you, man. So you got to focus, all right? You just got to clear it. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Got to focus. So pursuing perfection made me think, in sports, we're always pursuing perfection.
Right.
What team should go perfect? In the NFL, everyone's always been pursuing the 72 Dolphins because they were perfect.
Right.
In high school football, that team that goes undefeated wins the state championship. They were perfect. In your mind, as a coach, what does pursuing perfection mean to you?
Yeah, I think it goes back to those 3 F's that we deal with, where it starts with faith, then it's family, and then it's football. For me, perfection, see, God never called me to be a winner. God has called me to be faithful. And I think the lessons that I can provide our kids help them to obtain that perfection within themselves. Perfection to me is 3 invitations to weddings this summer from former players that we had at Marcus or we had at Wills Point that knew that Coach Cranfill was there for them. And then we get in the car and we drive wherever we can just to show them that not only do you know I love you, I'm here to show it, and I think coaches all around the state and all around the world would say the same thing, is perfection for me is knowing that we've gotten the most out of the kids that we have. Because see, each group is different. There are groups that you get that could go 16-0. And then there are groups that you get that will go 3-7. But as a coach, you lay your head on the pillow knowing, did I get the most out of these kids that I possibly could get? Because you always got to deal with injuries and ask coaches from last year that were like one of my best friends, BJ Gott, who won a playoff game at Katy Pato and then was told, you will not play anymore. You can't base his perfection on a record when he was told he couldn't continue on in the playoffs, for the fact of it's bigger than just the wins and the losses. For me, it starts internally with those kids and knowing that they play at a place and go to a school at a place, that the teachers love them, that the principals and head of school love them, that everybody around them is here for them and wants them to see them grow as a human and try to be perfect within themselves, and then with one day maybe a family as a father and a husband, to know that we've done our job as coaches. I know that sounds like a rambling perfection deal, but there's so much involved. We talk about it all the time. Ultimately, this year we've got a little motto: one team, one goal. Well, ultimately that goal is a state championship. But if we spend all of our time worrying about a state championship, then we'll forget the things that we have to do on a daily basis to get to take the step up that ladder to get there. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is just take 1 second at a time. And I told them, the only play that you should be worried about is the next play. And then from there, we'll refocus and go. And I think once you get kids understanding that, then that sense of perfection is about them understanding how to handle life. We deal with it as husbands and fathers, all the time. You go home, there's a stack of bills this thick. And it's about what's the priority? What do we need to do first? And then once we get that, then what do we do next? And then what do we do next? And understanding how to do those things makes us who we are, So excited about what this opportunity of coaching allows me to do. I pray every day, thanks for allowing me to be who I am, and more importantly, thank you for being who you are. That allows me, that has given me the opportunity to do what I do. So.
And with that, a Monday sermon, we will conclude this service.
No. I feel like I need a choir behind us, right?
We're just gonna clip that out, that Pursuing Perfection clip, and just put that on social media, and just let that go on its own. But St. Pius X Football does take on Lutheran High North this week, Coach. We will be back with you next week, hopefully talking about St. Pius X win, Players of the Week, and so on and so forth as we continue throughout the 2021 Texas high school football season, which is finally here.